The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hi, my name is Leo Connors, and welcome to The Ring and All Other Sports. Tonight, I got a very special guest making his second appearance on the show. First in the studio, the victorious BRG, Brett Ryan Gosselin. Brett, thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
Yeah, finally get to see the studio.
Yeah.
Last time it was on Skype and everything.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of Skype. Every time I'd finish a Skype episode, on no lie, my poor girlfriend would have to hear me swearing. We were just talking about swearing out there, but I'd be swearing, I'm never doing this again. And then the next week, I'd be right back at my house doing it again.
Well, quarantine just sucked in general. So
Yeah,
it was like...
it still does. Before we get into it, I just got to say this. Tom Brady is going to the NFC Championship, guys, in his first season in the NFC. Anybody that thinks he's not the greatest quarterback of all time, you're an idiot. I said it. I don't really care.
I'd agree.
Do you like Brady too? You're a Brady fan?
I mean, I grew up a Patriots fan, despite the fact that I'm a Canadians fan for hockey and everything. But like the Pats, like growing up, like I wasn't like a huge football fan or anything like that.
Right.
Like I couldn't like talk for like 30 minutes like we did about hockey before we went on air. But like Brady was like kind of just like what I grew up with. So like you kind of have to love Tom Brady.
Exactly,
no matter what.
the greatest. All right, listen, we get some fan questions. We'll do that, and then we'll get into other things. I kind of changed the show up a little. I got different segments.
Yeah.
All right. First is it's not a question. It's from Tony Brenton.
Yep.
Who's a huge fan up in Maine. Great guy. I'll tell you what I absolutely love about this kid. He's one of the best on the mic. He plays a great good guy, but man, he's the best as a bad guy. He can really piss off the fans. He's awesome. Thanks, Tony. He's a great guy. I love Tony.
Love that guy. He's got some great suits. He always sends me pictures of like the
he sent them to you too?
Yeah, absolutely. They're awesome.
Yeah, he shows me the figures he buys.
Yeah,
and stuff like
absolutely.
That. He's a great guy.
Cool guy.
But then Christine Hebert Gosselin,
my mother,
says that she agrees with him 100%.
Thanks, Mom. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Brett's mom, for chiming in on that. Thank you, Tony. Much appreciated. Davis Wright.
Yep.
Would you say your greatest accomplishment in NCW is being a multi-time heavyweight champion or a multi-time full event champ? I don't know, what is that? Is that really a belt?
So it was pretty much just a rib on the promoter, John Casey. JC's a cool guy, but like I would always bust him up about it because I found the old NCW New England title, and so I was just like, it's around the time the 24/7 championship came around, so I was just like, JC, we have a full event title now. He's like, no, we do not. No. I'm like, what do you mean? No, we could have everybody get pinned during the show. It would be absolutely stupid and everybody would love it. He's like, no. So then everybody in the locker room took that seriously.
Right.
Everybody. Like I was just sitting back and just watching my little creation come to fruition. And everybody was like going around the locker room, like passing this title around.
Nice.
Like pinning each other. I'm just like, okay, like I'm like, what is happening now? Like JC's gonna hate me for the rest of my life now.
You've been wrestling for them for a while, huh?
Well, that's the thing. That's the place that when I first started wrestling, it's like one of the first shows I went to. It's like honestly, like the thing that I love about going there is like I can try different things out. Like that's where me and Channing like first started like doing like the whole like tagging thing, and like taught like essentially becoming friends more often. Like you can go back and like watch from like 4 years ago. Like I remember seeing a video and it's just like me like scrawny as a twig. Like everyone thinks I'm skinny now. Like I was like 140 pounds and I'm like me doing push-ups and it looks like my arms are gonna break beneath me, crying out loud. And like there's Channing when he was like Timmy Thunder and everything like that. It was just like that's a place like where me and him kind of like grew as wrestlers. And like when I won like the NCW title, it was like the first time where I've been like in a like main event position. So like it made me try different things to like make sure that my matches were like in a main event style, essentially. So I mean, I have a lot of fun when I was heavyweight champion because like I got some opportunities like working with Anthony Green like twice in one day.
Yeah.
It was you know, you learn a lot from him. Like I've wrestled him
right.
a couple times before that, but like it was like close to the end of his run on the Indies, so
Right.
it was just a good learning experience to say the least. Especially putting multiple matches together. It's like kind of like putting together like how it is in like TV tapings and everything like that.
Right. That's awesome. And it's great to see Anthony get signed. August
August Gray.
We should say August Gray. All right. Stephen Baker, who was here last week.
Mhm.
No, 2 weeks ago. I'm sorry, because Shannon Thomas, how could I forget, was here
Yeah.
last week. Gave me a gift. Did you see that? He gave me an 8x10. Thanks,
Right?
Shannon.
It's a pretty good 8x10.
Yeah.
It may be worth a lot of money someday.
It's
Yeah, you
be
gotta
worth
have
a lot of money
you gotta
someday. It is.
that $1 million smile.
That's it. All right. What made you decide to change your name from Todd Harris to BRG?
Okay. Well, Todd Harris, I always hated the name.
Okay. Did you pick that yourself?
No,
or was
I
that
didn't.
Given to you?
It was
Okay.
given to me. It was given to me a long, long time ago, and I was just told that Brett Ryan Gosselin was not a Brett Gosselin wasn't like a wrestling name. Essentially, it was just like they're like, oh, I the guy that gave it to me. It's just like I don't like the name Todd. Just like it's just very arrogant and stuff. I was like, okay. Originally, it was gonna be Todd Richmond, and I was the rich character, so like it could have been even more generic, if anything. But it eventually settled on Todd Harris, and I just kind of like stuck with it because it was just something I was like comfortable with.
Yeah.
I remember there was like this one time where I had the opportunity. They were like, "What's your name, kid?" And I was like, "Oh, should I say Brett Gosselin?" And then I caved, and I was like, "Todd Harris," and I was like, "Dang!" I still regret it to this day.
Right.
But then it was eventually when I met, like, I started going to training with like Ryan Drew and everything like that, where he was like, why is your name Todd Harris? It's very generic. It's very boring. And I'm just like, oh, you're right. It really does suck. But I was like thinking, like, what could a good name be? And then I was in attendance at school one day. And teachers calling off names. And he's like, Brett Gosselin. And I'm just like, here. And he's like, oh, like Ryan Gosselin. And I'm like, no, not, crap. My middle name is actually Ryan.
Is it real?
Yeah,
No,
it's
really
my real
is.
name.
Wow.
It's my real name.
Wow.
And then I just remember, I just sent it to Ryan. I was just like, what about Ryan Gosselin? He's like, yeah, it's actually, that's not, he's like, why this though? I'm like, it's my real name. And like, even like Chuck O'Neal and other guys, I'll be like, why Brett Ryan Gosselin? I'm like, it's just my real name.
Right.
It's just like, it makes sense. It sounds like Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
It's just not the same spelling.
No, right.
But it sounds.
No, I thought it's a genius, really, honestly, with the BRG.
Yeah, it just, that thing just kind of came.
Just rolls
over
right off the tongue like nothing.
It just came over time.
Right.
Everyone just started calling me BRG and everything like that.
Nice.
There's still people like Sierra that'll always call me Todd Harris, but
Right,
that just comes to the territory.
That's because she probably loves you. She loves the past. All right. I don't know if you know this guy. He just hit me up. Greg Yonakura.
Oh.
I think he might be a
Oh yes, he's
a real guy?
Yes, he tweets at me every week about who he wants to see me wrestle.
If you were not a wrestler, what would you be doing? Sorry, Greg.
Honestly, I don't really know. It's probably just like watching wrestling.
Yeah.
And I'd still be playing hockey probably.
Right.
Because like I kind of left hockey when I started wrestling because I wanted to take wrestling a lot more seriously, and it was just like hockey was like kind of getting in the way at that point. So I'd probably still be playing hockey a lot more. That's pretty much it. I'm going to school, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, wrestling's just kind of been my thing since I left high school.
Right. He has a follow-up. Where do you see yourself in 10 years from now?
I don't like to predict that kind of stuff.
No.
That's the thing. Because here's the thing. So like, I'll put it in perspective. I hated wrestling growing up. I don't know if we talked about this before, but like I hated wrestling growing up. So I would never have imagined myself a professional wrestler 10 years later.
Right.
So like, I just kind of like, I'm kind of like the go with the flow kind of guy. Like I have like ideas, like things that like I want to happen in the next 10 years. Like I was telling you before we got on, like me and Channing Thomas, we want to go down to Georgia as soon as the NWA tapings start back up again. And like, we want to like help out, do whatever we can to try and get on those shows in general. So like, that's like a goal for us in general.
Yep.
Essentially advancing through a lot of these different companies that I'm a part of now once everything gets back to normal.
Hopefully, eventually.
It's Northeast Wrestling. I'd love to be like one of the the main guys
Right.
there, you know, Top Rope Promotions, Limitless.
Yep.
Like we have like I'm getting like a good foothold there, and like
Right.
obviously COVID put a stop to it.
Yep.
But like once everything like resumes like back to like a certain normal, I'd love to keep advancing through there
Right.
and eventually like move down more towards the East Coast,
Yep.
like New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York, all
Right.
those type of places. It's just hard right now with everything going
Yeah.
on.
And it's a good location to be if you want to travel to
Yeah.
wrestle all over the East Coast. So,
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Greg has one more question. What are 3 goals you have for wrestling in life in 2021?
In 2021, wrestle as much as I can. You know, every single year that I've been wrestling, it's essentially do better than what happened the year before.
Right.
And so far, I've been able to do that. This is where it's going to be like, you know, the year where I have to really
Right.
try and make sure
Yeah.
that that I can do better than what happened last year. It's not that tough, but
No, I
at the same
understand, yeah.
time,
Where you
we
gotta
don't know
work.
what's going to happen.
Right. You may only be working at one place,
Yeah.
for, you know? So,
Mhm.
all right. Dave Fournier wants to know, what is your favorite promotion to work for? I always say this too. It's a loaded question. It's
It's
like
a
you
lo-
want to get the wrestlers in trouble with the promoters.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you
like
doing,
it's,
Dave?
I mean, I just love the independence in general. I mean, that's
Right.
the safest way. I mean, I work for the 3 main companies that I work for in the New England area are like really like I have a reason for every single
Right.
for working every single one of those places. Northeast Wrestling, I love.
Right.
You know, it gives you like it's a very different vibe there.
Yeah,
because,
well,
you
they have
know-
a lot of former stars.
Yeah,
Actually,
exactly.
Maybe still stars, really.
Yeah,
Some of
I've
them.
gotten a lot of opportunity there, and I've gotten a lot of opportunity at Top Rope. Like Top
Right.
Rope, I was able to do work with a Boogeyman.
Yeah.
Northeast,
We're going to talk about that.
yeah,
definitely.
Northeast Wrestling, I was able to do work with Bob Backlund.
Yep.
Limitless is like the place where me and Channing just started, and we have an opportunity to like be one of the main tag teams there.
And a lot of great young wrestlers up there.
Yeah,
Right now.
exactly. It's a lot of like it's like the essentially like the beyond of Maine. It's
Yeah.
like a lot of people have like the same.
Absolutely.
And Randy Carver's done a great job of essentially like I remember when it first came around.
Yeah.
I just remember I was like, we're going to Maine to wrestle.
Right.
We're going to like I was a like IWE up there, and I was like, we're going to Maine to wrestle. Like, what's up in Maine? And then like right after that, that's when like Limitless started, and I remember it started to like get like a foothold eventually. And like now it's like everyone wants to go to Maine to wrestle.
Yeah, it's crazy. I definitely want, when wrestling really does open up more, I can't wait to go to Limitless shows.
Yeah.
I've been really lazy. I think we might have talked about it before when we were on Skype. That I basically, when I go to a wrestling show and it's over, I want to be home in 15 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
But it's really not like that. If you want to see wrestling, you got to travel. So I
Absolutely.
definitely want to make sure I'm out there doing that.
Mhm.
Dave also says, what is your favorite hockey team and why? Well, we know what his favorite hockey team is.
Montreal Canadiens.
The Canadians.
You can't like. I mean, that's the thing. Is like, you know, my dad's dad
Yeah.
from Quebec, my mom's mom
Yeah.
from Quebec. My dad, diehard hockey fan his entire life. He grew up with the Canadians. Like put it in perspective. Like as soon as I learned to walk, I was on skates.
Right.
Like I was just skating for the first time in like 2 years. And like I picked it up like it was
Right,
nothing.
right.
At first I was like, oh wait, I haven't skated in 2 years. But you know, Canadians, like I had no choice growing up.
Right.
But and I mean, like the fact that, you know, 24 Stanley Cups and it's a dynasty team.
No doubt.
You can't you know, they provided me some of my best memories growing up.
And some of the greatest hockey players ever have come from the
Exactly.
Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah, Patrick
Absolutely.
Roy, Jean Beliveau,
Yeah.
Guy Carbonneau.
Rocket Rashad,
Yeah, exactly.
John Beliveau, Yvonne Cormier. We could sit here honestly for the rest of the time here and name great Canadian hockey players. We
Yeah,
really
see,
could.
my friends like to bust me up all the time. So like I always say like French. I always say Rocket Richard,
Yeah.
Guy Carbonneau, and
Yeah.
then my friends will be like, "Oh, Rocket Richard."
yeah, because they don't have it. Yeah, they don't know.
They just like to bust me up.
Yep. All right. So Dave has one more. Do you prefer tag team or singles?
Ah, that's a loaded. That's
Another loaded question,
question.
Dave. Come on.
I love both. It's like
Do you?
it's the easiest way. Like I feel like I'm a lot more creative in tag wrestling
Right.
now. Like it's when I have multiple people, especially like when you're a bad guy, when you're having multiple people help you out in a match,
Yep.
it's an easier way to get a hate from the audience. That's
Right.
why I liked what I was doing when I was heavyweight champion for NCW, because like I had Sierra, I had Channing, I
Right.
had those two to help me out in matches, and it made matches feel a lot more exciting. The problem with singles and when I'm on my own is I feel like I go to the same well one too many times,
Right.
and like my matches start to all look the same. But like I remember when I was just going over things with Channing, I was like, dang, we can do this, 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 and this. I'm like, we're getting so much more creative, like when
That's
you're
awesome.
a tag wrestler. So like we've had the one match at Limitless right now, but like the things we've talked about, I'm very excited for the future on that.
Nice. Yeah, it's going to be exciting. I can't wait to see what you guys do with this. And I'm a big tag. I'd rather watch, if you said to me, do you want to watch tag team or a singles match? I'd take the tag team match every time.
Yeah.
All right. Channing Thomas. He wants to know, did BRG work out today?
I did work out today right before I came here.
All right. And he also wants to know, what's the most recent wrestling match you watched and what did you think about it?
No, that's the thing. I've watched too many matches lately.
Right.
You know, I usually watch like full pay-per-views. That's the thing. Like I can't just watch one match because I
Right.
feel like I'm missing out on like something that could happen. So like the most recent one I watched was like NXT Takeover New Orleans, I want to say. That's like my favorite pay-per-view of all time, just because I was there
Right.
for when that happened. That's the one where Ciampa and Gargano had like
Okay.
the unsanctioned match
Yep.
to get Gargano back in the company. I remember being there. And then they also had tapings for like the next week's NXT. So like I got to see the War Raiders debut.
Nice.
So like I saw Hanson debut and
Yeah.
all those guys. It was just like that was it was funny because it's also the night where Roderick Strong joined the Undisputed Era and everything like that.
That was awesome.
It was just a fun night in general because there
Right.
was like a memorable part to every single
Yep.
match there. Like, you know, I hate Dave Meltzer in all honesty. I hate
Yeah, I hear
the
you.
5-star ratings, but like, you know, when you can brag to somebody like, oh yeah, like I was at a show with 2 5-star matches,
Right.
like it's just like one of those things you can brag about. But even though I can't stand those ratings in all
Yep.
honesty.
Nah, I'm not a big fan of that. I'm not a big fan of Meltzer. I was never a dirt sheet reader either.
And
You know what
I'm also super biased because I listen to all the podcasts that hate him. So
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
Bischoff, Cornette,
Right.
all those guys.
Right. That's funny. All right, I got to ask you one thing now. With the prestige, you and Channing,
Mhm.
is there any? Do you feel like maybe you could bring Sierra into that?
You know, that's the thing is like it sucks because Sierra's still like in such a limbo. Like
Is she still? Yeah.
me and Channing have talked about this many times, but like, you know, she had a very serious injury
Right.
like in the middle of 2019. Like like her back literally bent in half
Right.
like an accordion. Like it was really bad, and she's like still just trying to come back from it. And I can understand why it's scary to like jump back in the ring, especially after
Oh,
a
yeah.
crazy injury like that, especially to your back, and especially what wrestlers go through with their backs
Right.
and everything like
Exactly.
that. So, you know, we've thought about it, but at the same time, we need to make sure she comes back before we can put her full time.
Right.
We'd love to have her because like we all get along.
Right.
We're
right.
all like great friends. We all talk to each other. Like I talk to Sierra every day.
Nice.
So like,
Okay.
I mean, it's something I'm very much open to.
Okay. We talked a little bit about how Limitless is one of the only companies running right now.
Yeah.
One of them. You were in the Vacation Land Cup.
Yep.
Okay. Now, have you been in every season of the road? Now, is this the third season of the road they're doing now?
So right now it's still the second season.
Still the second. Okay.
Third season will be coming.
Yeah.
You know, tapings will be happening, but I was only in season 2.
Okay.
So I didn't go to the first round of tapings and everything like that. But the second season, it's like I only had like 2 matches, but I got to work with Ilya Markopoulos for like the first time in singles.
Yep.
So it was a fun time. But I remember coming out of those tapings, I was like, you know, like I definitely want to be doing a lot more matches in season 3, and I definitely like that's me and Channing's like time to shine because we
Right.
had the one match.
Yeah.
Now it's like it's time to capitalize on
Right.
that, and just like we gave a small glimpse at the fact that we very much love Southern style
Right.
tag team wrestling. We're not trying to be like some like revival
No,
ripoff
I
because
hear
now
you.
you hear like Southern style.
Right,
Oh, they're
right.
just trying to be the revival or
Yeah.
anything like that. We have like a very brash arrogance to us,
Right.
and we we love what we've been watching, like Brain Busters,
Yep.
Midnight Express, everything like that. We want to replicate that, but in our own vision, essentially.
Right.
Like it's just, there's so much opportunity for us, and we
Right.
want to capitalize on it. The season 3 is like where we feel like we can definitely capitalize on that for sure.
Nice.
We pitch ideas to each other every single day, and like sometimes we shoot each other down all the time. Like being a tag team can be like, it's like in a relationship
Oh,
in
yeah,
a sense.
of course.
Because I'll say something to Channing and he'll be like, that's so dumb.
Right.
And then I'm like a little more nicer than that. I was like, yeah, sure, if you want to try that, we can do that. That's fine.
Awesome. All right. So now they were on IWTV.
Yeah.
Now, is that the first time you've ever been on IWTV?
Yeah, I would
with them?
say that I haven't really like gone towards a lot of the promotions that like stick on IWTV. Like I've been
Right.
on high spots when it came to like Northeast and everything like that. But that's really the only time I've been on IWTV was
Okay.
for the Limitless taping.
All right. You earlier I don't know if it was on air or off here, but Nick Steele was brought up.
Yeah.
And how was your relationship with Nick?
It's, with school and everything like that, I was in Connecticut a lot, and I only really got like a year with Nick Steele. I wasn't like, I was there at least like once a month, at least for Top Rope, because I had started like the beginning of 2019. Nick was just a fun guy, like in general. Like I'm like someone that like holds everything to the heart and everything like that, and I loved like Nick. Even though like, me and him weren't super close, it was like, it was really tough, especially on the like that tribute show. We had just done the 10-bell salute, and I was the first match right after that. So I was like, ugh, like you can physically see it. Like now that I bring it up, like you can go watch me in my entrance. Like I'm frowning because like I'm so like trying so hard like to hold the tears back. He was, he was very adamant in his beliefs. He was always a fun guy to like be in the ring. Like, he'd stretch you, for sure, especially when you were in the ring.
But he always said all the younger guys that he always wanted good things for the guys.
Absolutely. He was just a very upstanding guy, and like I remember sitting there in shock, reading that message that first morning. When Steve had texted all of us, he's like, Nick passed away. I was like, wait, Nick? Like our trainer Nick? He's like, our trainer Nick has passed away. I was like, what? Like I sat there for like a good 10 minutes and I was just like, dang, like Nick's gone. Like this is so sad. Like what about his kids? He loved his
family,
kids.
right.
He was like, we talked about like Brody Lee, that was like such a family man, and everyone loved how much of a family man. Nick Steele was just like that.
Thing, huh?
He loved his kids. He loved his family. It was like him going it was very, very sad. And then COVID hit right after that. So it was 2020 really started out well for a lot of people.
Yeah, it sure did. It definitely did. All right. So now you've when Matt Taven won the Ring of Honor World Championship, were you there?
I wasn't there.
You weren't there.
I had the opportunity to go.
Okay.
Ryan Drew asked me if I wanted to go, and I still, I had a gut feeling that Taven was winning that night, but at the same time, I was like, I gave up some like BS excuse as to why I didn't want to go, and I still regret it to this day. And he likes to he likes to give me crap about it.
I'm
sometimes.
sure he does.
But like I think him, Channing, and Jason Daniels all went up that night, and they had a blast, and I missed out. I missed out on it.
It's amazing though. It was great for a guy that only knows Matt Taven from watching him wrestle. Yeah, don't know him personally. I just thought it was just a great thing to see a local guy win something like that. It was pretty cool.
I was really happy for Matt because like when I had left Showcase Pro Wrestling, he was like the first person I got on there, and like that's the thing. It's like when I didn't know anything about independent wrestling in general, but I remember there's this one guy that like I will not even name because he doesn't even deserve that.
Okay.
He was just like, oh, Matt Taven hates Showcase students. He hates all these like Showcase guys and all this. So I was like super nervous to go up to him. I was like, he's like, oh, where'd you train before? I was like, Showcase. And he's like, okay. He's like,
nice.
I was just, he's always been a nice guy to me. Like I mentioned how I was like crying before I went out for my match.
Yeah.
Like literally, like I was like sitting there like trying to get myself together, and Matt's just he literally came over and hugged me.
Yep.
And he's like, just go out there and kill it.
Right.
And, he's part of the reason why I was in Northeast Wrestling. He's one of the guys that vouched for me and everything like that. He, like, to see him win the Ring of Honor title. I was really happy for him.
Yeah. No, it was really great. He's so talented.
Yeah, absolutely.
All three of those guys are. TK, Vinny, Vincent.
Vincent.
Vincent,
Another guy. He's just, you know, he was, after my father passed away, the next day I went to training with him.
Right.
And he's like, are you sure you're good? I was like, yeah, no, I'm fine. Like all three of those guys all reached out to me after my father passed away. So like I'm very, very much appreciative to all three of them for what the knowledge they were able to pass on to me.
Right. Nice. Okay. I got a few segments we try to do here now. So just, the first one's called You Rather. Sonny Goodspeed gave me this one.
Yep.
Would you rather be able to talk with the animals or speak all foreign languages?
Speak all foreign languages.
You would, yeah?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I'm a guy that likes to travel. So like in like my short time on Earth, I benefited from being able to like go to Spain, go to France, go to Canada, but the French speaking part of Canada.
Right.
And I always thought like I regret it now because my parents both spoke French when I was growing up. So, yeah, I was stubborn as a child. I'm still stubborn to this day. I'll admit it. And, you know, I had the chance to learn French.
Yeah.
And, like, at least learning all the languages, I could at least speak with, like, my grandmother in French. I could speak with my grandfather in French. But, you know, it's one of those things where, like, you kind of regret some of the decisions you made at, like, 4 years old. But, yeah, definitely.
All right. One more. Would you rather listen to the music of the 70s or listen to the music of today?
Oh, that's a tough one because like I'm not really big on like the 70s music. Kind of like grew up with like.
Oh, I figured like your parents are they're probably a little younger than me. I'm 55.
Yeah. Well, my mom was born in like 72, so like her thing was like the 80s.
Yeah,
she's like diehard like Def Leppard.
Yep.
I still would pick the 70s over today's
I'm not a big
music.
fan of today's music.
I mean,
there's some good stuff. There is.
It's fine when you're going out with like friends and stuff and like going to like a club or anything like that. But like, it's like I'll listen to more of the older stuff. And anything. That's because I grew up on that kind of stuff.
Right. All right. So another one. It's called Pick One, Get Three. I'm going to give you three choices. You can either take from either movies, music, or TV.
Okay. Movies.
Okay. What's your favorite movie?
I got like three, but I mean, I can go over my top three. Top three: Casino Royale, which is the James Bond movie. Nightcrawler, which is a Jake Gyllenhaal movie that came out in 2014, and then Die Hard. Die Hard is the greatest Christmas movie of all time.
Right.
I will fight anybody on that one.
Okay. Who's your favorite actor?
Ooh, you know, Daniel Craig because he's James Bond.
Right.
He's my favorite Bond for sure. Because he's from my favorite movie. And when I really got into the James Bond series, he was like the guy. So like that's the thing. He's like the James Bond movies he's in. It's like good one, bad one, good one, bad one. Oh really? Yeah. So it's like Casino Royale. Like I said, one of my favorites. Yeah. Then there was Quantum of Solace, which was not a good movie. Then there was Skyfall. It was like awesome. I remember watching it in theaters with my dad all the time. And then after that, it was Spectre, and I was like,
good, bad.
So like. It's like the fifth time now. It's his fifth movie. So, you know, he could either have a winning streak, he could go out on a winning record, or he could go out on a losing record. Right. It's really depends.
He's 2-2.
Yeah, exactly. So he's got to get that third one. He's got to have that good movie.
What movie that you love or like that would surprise me that you love or like?
Man. That High School Musical 2.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, who's in those? Like Zac Efron?
Yeah, Zac Efron and everything like that. Yeah. I remember, you know, back in like 2009, I didn't really care for it, but like me and my friends now will all like watch it when we're like, you know, we're having fun and everything like that. We're just like, oh, let's just turn on High School Musical 2. And like, we all know the songs at this point. So it's like pop culture. It's kind of like, I have more of a fondness for it now than I did when I was like little, when I was like 11 when it came out. Yeah. So I would say that's like a movie I have no problem watching over and over again.
All right. I got another game I took from my friend Dan Bolio's Let Freedom Ring podcast. It's called Blank versus Blank. So I'm going to give you two things. You pick which one you like better. Toronto Maple Leafs or Boston Bruins?
Oh God,
I
why?
like one of them more than the other.
Oh, I can't stand Boston, so I'm gonna have to go Toronto. I'd rather
right.
see a Canadian team win a cup than Boston win a cup again.
All right.
2011 is the worst time for me as a Canadians fan.
Leo,
Yeah.
get him out of here.
Yeah, I'm ready to throw him right out of here. Huh? Dick, maybe we should have you come in like you threw Sidney Bacabella out of here. All right, so the next blank versus blank is Connor McDavid, Nikita Kucherov. Two of the top scorers in the
I
NHL
know
right now.
that's a tough one. I'd have to say McDavid because he's kind of more all-around player.
Okay.
In my personal opinion, Kucherov, it's a really tough one. But again, like I kind of have a little more fondness for the Canadian players.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to go with McDavid on that one.
I already know what you're going to pick on the next one, but the only reason why I'm going to say this one is because just the other day, it was in the news that Austin Matthews did not, or the Toronto Maple Leafs did not appreciate all the cross checks to the back of Austin Matthews that he's been getting in the first game of the year. Did you see this? And then someone brought up this guy who gets cross-checked every game 100 times a game and he doesn't complain once. So blank versus blank. Brendan Gallagher, Austin Matthews.
Well, let's see. Brendan Gallagher is my favorite player in the NHL.
Is he really your favorite?
Yeah,
now?
he's by far my favorite player. If if Marc Bergevin, the GM of Montreal, ever decides to trade him, I will. That will be like I already hate Bergevin with a passion. I hate him with a passion already. So if he trades away my favorite player, he already traded away Domi, who was one of my other favorites. So if he trades away Brendan Gallagher and Carey Price, I'm gonna seriously go on a a tirade. On Marc Bergevin on Facebook, and I never go on those type of tirades on like Facebook, Twitter, anything like that. But that'll be like the first time where I'm gonna be like extremely mad. But yeah, Brendan Gallagher is like the guy that's in front of the net 24/7. There's a reason half the goals he scores are because he's like sitting in front of the net. He's the guy that
tough little guy, man.
Yeah, he's he's very, very small. He wears number 11, which for me, I've always liked number 11 on the Canadians. There's one guy that I didn't know, Scott Gomez, when he was that's because he was the first person to wear 11 after Saku Cueva, who's like my all-time favorite player.
He came from the Devils too, Scott Gomez.
Yes. Yeah. So like people were not happy with him when he decided to pick up 11. Then Gallagher picked it up. Yeah. And he lived up.
He's a great hockey player.
Oh, fantastic.
I love him on the Boston Bruins.
Yeah, I swear to God, no. That's where I'm gonna debate some things.
All right, listen. I never brought this guy up, and he wrestles up in for Limitless all the time.
Yep.
And he really intrigues me, and I think I'm gonna hit him up. I'd love to get him on this show. Love Doug.
Love Doug.
I want to. Can you tell me anything about Love Doug? Seriously.
Love Doug.
What a character.
He is very much character.
Yeah.
His social media game, I wish I could get on.
Right.
He is like every time I'm on Twitter, he's always there.
Right.
He kind of creeps out every single female wrestler in New England.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
But
I think he's supposed to do that though. He's Love Doug.
He's Love Doug. He loves everybody. But I mean, he's very good at social media.
Right.
And
he is.
You have to have that in 2021. Jesus, it's already that year already.
Right.
But you have to have a good social media game. And
Definitely.
he just he got Effie.
Yeah.
Love Doug.
Yep.
He's really good at social media, and he's still super newer.
Yeah.
And everything like that, but he can only go up from
here.
Yeah,
because he seemed to come out of nowhere. All of a sudden, I started seeing him on social media, and I'm a rocker. I love my rock music, and Kiss, with Love Gun, and he uses that song. Just it's pretty cool. So have you wrestled him yet?
Have I? Maybe one time at a training.
Right.
But I think that's really it. I remember there was one time I went back to Taven's for one class, and I think I wrestled him in training, but I haven't had.
So is that where he trains?
Taven used to. He just moved down to Florida.
Oh, wow.
I believe. So he just left training there and everything like that. So
wow. So is he still going to come up to Limitless?
I think he's not Love Doug. Not Love Doug.
Oh,
it was Taven that moved down to Florida.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, Love Doug's still up here. He still
Right.
lives in the New England area. I'd love
Okay.
to wrestle him.
Yeah,
at
so I'd
some
love to
point.
see it.
But we'll see. It'll happen eventually. It's just
Right.
a matter of time. But you
Okay,
know.
excellent. All right, how about another big name up in Limitless, and he's doing great things in Impact. Ace Romero, who's been doing great, lost a lot of weight.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Ace is you know, he's
Awesome.
always stuck up for me.
Has he?
It's crazy.
That's good.
You know, there's is one situation where you know, I'm not gonna bring up old dirty laundry
Okay.
or anything like that, but you know, he was one of the first person to reach out to me. It was like something I put on Twitter.
Yep.
And he was the first person to reach out to me. He's like, "Are you okay?" And I know it's like a big thing or anything like
Right.
that. And he, you know, he's always stuck up for me. And like sometimes, like I'm like, "Yeah, Ace, do you?" Because I'm always questioning, like, "Does this person like me?" And
Right,
then,
right, of
but then
course,
I
I
always
get it.
remember, like, Ace has always been like a guy that's like always giving me advice, always helped
Right.
me out. You know, he comes off tough, but like he's always been super nice to me.
Big teddy bear.
Yeah, sometimes.
It's like Sonny. Sonny, you look at Sonny, he's like a big teddy bear, Sonny
Yeah.
Goodspeed. All right, how about us? Well, speaking of big guys, Puff.
Puff.
It was
was
great seeing him on when he did a little bit with that AEW.
Yeah, I just wrestled him at Limitless.
Did you? Oh,
I'm not
really?
a fan of
Just before
Santa
that?
Puff. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Santa Puff or Megabyte Ronnie or anything
Right,
like
right.
that. Comes out to Santa. Like, first off, like, who comes out to Mariah Carey? Like, I get it. That song's great.
Yeah.
But, like, when me and Channing are sitting there, like, is he going to come out anytime soon? Or are we just going to sit here for
Right.
another 2 minutes while the song hits the beat drop or anything like that? We're just sitting there. Like, we're a very serious tag team in that sense. And here's this goofball just running around the ring in a Santa outfit.
Right. All right. I don't have him written down, but seeing we're talking about, we brought up Puff. How about Kevin Blackwood?
Kevin Blackwood. I've only like come across him like every
Okay.
once in a while. I
Yep.
don't have like much I can really say. I've only seen him wrestle a couple times.
Right.
I'll just say for a guy that's been through a serious car accident
Yeah.
such as himself, I mean that's to come back to wrestling in like such a short time.
Yeah.
It wasn't not that
No, it
long that
was
he was
not that long.
gone from wrestling, but I have any respect for somebody that goes through a car accident,
Yeah.
especially one as serious as that.
Right.
And I'll say that about Puff too, because he was in that same
Was
accident.
it 4 or 5?
Yeah,
4 or 5
I
guys?
was. I don't recall exactly, but I know Kevin and
Right.
Puff were in that.
Yeah.
It's serious. It's serious.
Right.
Regardless, and anybody that can come back for that, they have my respect in that
Yeah.
aspect.
Absolutely. That's great. How about a main tag team, MSP, Mainstay Posse?
I've known them.
I'd love to see you. I'm sorry. I'd love to see you and Shannon wrestle them.
Yes,
That
that
would
is.
be Randy, please.
Yeah.
Please, Randy.
I've known them for a very long time.
Yeah.
I knew them when they were Levi Lexington and Amon Jordan.
Wow.
Like back at IWE when
Yeah.
they first started. We all started around the same time.
Right.
So like I remember seeing them, pick up the MSP gimmick for the first time at NCW. That's actually where it originated. That
Oh, no
that
kidding.
whole Mainstay Posse
Yeah.
deal with Alexander Lee when it was a whole thing. A little history lesson
Yeah.
for some people, but I've known them for a long time. Danger Kids jumped off a basketball hoop and nailed me with a swanton bomb through a table.
Wow.
Yeah,
They're very talented.
yes, we had. I mean, for main fans that have gone back years, they know me and MSP alone just like have a
Right.
lot of history. They shoved a live lobster down my pants.
Whoa.
My old tag partner Malik Logan, they threw him through a door.
Wow. So you do have some serious
I've
history.
been. They gave me a pile driver
Yeah.
into the wood underneath the ring. It's been some crazy times with MSP, and I could get a little payback now that I have
Right.
Channing by my side for sure.
Well, it's funny that, like you said, Alexander Lee, because I'd only seen them like 5 times, and every time it was just them two. It was
Yeah.
just Danger Kid and
Aiden
Agro.
Yep.
Agro.
Yeah, Acro.
So I was at the one time I went to Limitless. I'm talking to some guy, and I'm like, yeah, they were in the ring. I'm like, every time I've seen them, I've never seen them with Alexander Lee.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. The guy goes, I'm Alexander. I was talking to Alexander Lee, and it like blew me away. He's a nice guy.
Very nice guy.
Very talented,
But he
too.
will you know, he's not part of MSP anymore.
Right.
But like, yeah, I'm like, have you seen the match that he had with Slade?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
he's crazy guy.
The Slade's pretty crazy too.
Oh God, no. I've had my fair share of incidents with Slade. It was.
I actually have. Let's talk about him. Slade. I got him right here.
I mean, I remember just sitting there. I was watching him and Alexander Lee go at it, and I was just sitting there, and it's very hard for me to be like super like invest in other people's matches because like I lose concentration very quickly. But a chair smashed over your head twice, and he's just unfazed by it. I'm like, okay,
right.
I'm kind of scared of you.
Yeah, he's been doing. He does some work for Beyond too.
Yeah,
which is pretty cool.
I've seen he had a match with Nick Gage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't even seen that match,
but
I can already
get in the ring with Nick Gage.
I can only imagine what that was.
Man, he's a crazy dude.
Yeah.
All right, how about Travis Gillette?
Man, it sucks that he's not around.
He's
that
not.
much.
He's like, is he like completely stepping away?
I don't know.
You know?
I don't really know.
So talented, man.
He has so much potential, but he's the last time I talked about him, we talked about him the last time I was on the show, and I had like such great things, and like just since then he's kind of like just gone off, and it sucks because he's a really good guy in general. Like me and him talk all the time, and it's a shame that he, I hope he comes back to wrestling because he really does have a lot of potential.
I hope he does too because he's got so much talent. His dad was really good too, and he has more size than his dad.
Yeah.
So it's really good to see,
I think part of it too is a lot of like, real life things that are going on too.
It happens to a lot of good wrestlers.
Yeah, it does. So like, hopefully he does come back. I would love to see him come back, but that's up to him in that aspect.
Okay. How about Chris Venom? Did you come across Chris St. Ange?
I have. Good guy.
So glad to see him come back.
He's been really doing stuff at like NCW mostly. And just talking with him in general, he's a very down to earth person. Like he's not like some of the independent wrestlers that have like been around for a long time. That's like, I know everything and you don't know anything type of guy. He's like a very humble person. Like I ask him all the time, can you please watch my match? Just tell me what feedback on it. Doesn't matter where you go, you need to hear back feedback in general because some people have they'll always have something to say. Right. It's up to you to take that. And I always ask him to watch my matches for sure. Because he has been around for a while. Yeah. So he's definitely, had his fair share of like gathering some knowledge for sure.
Absolutely. How about I had in that chair maybe 2 months ago, Dick Lane.
Dick Lane.
But the metahuman supervillain, insane Dick Lane. He was a fun guest.
Yeah. He's a very nice guy. Yeah. For sure. I remember I watched that episode too. I saw you called me Todd Harris. Yeah. He's a very good guy, very humble. He never again, same thing. He's just, he's happy where he's at in wrestling, and you can't really have any can't really show any disrespect to somebody that's like he doesn't think he's bigger than where he is. If he chooses to go on, I think he could, do a lot of good things. But he's happy where he's at. Yeah, I respect him for owning up to that and saying that.
And he started wrestling late in life. I couldn't believe when he told me he started at 28 years old. That's so late though.
I remember when I met him, I thought he was like 25, and he was like 32 at that point. Wow. So I was like really shocked.
Yeah, no, he's a great guy. A lot of those guys I've gotten to know over like the last, let's say, maybe year. And here's another one, a guy I like a lot, Todd Graham.
Todd Graham, yeah, he's insanely talented when it comes to like merchandise and stuff like that. I still have to pick up the trading cards that I had him have made for me, everything like that, just because COVID hit at the wrong time. I was supposed to get it the week after, and like that was like he's very talented, and if he right now he's like at a very local level with like a lot of his merchandise, like the action figures and everything like that. If he like starts going like regional, and then maybe like down the line he starts going more and more, if he picks up on it, like he's got a good like potential business right there.
Yeah. No, he's a very creative kid.
Yeah.
And when I first started doing this show, and some people, wrestling is. Some
Yeah.
people, I don't like this guy. I'll tell you, I take every relationship that I have. My best friend could tell me that he doesn't like somebody.
Yeah.
But if I don't have that relationship like he does it, I'm not gonna hate the guy because my best friend does.
Yeah,
it's just,
absolutely.
I think Todd's just a great guy.
Yeah. Like I said, he's very talented with
Yes.
and very creative in that sense.
Okay. Davian.
Devian? She scares me sometimes.
Well, yeah, she's a great wrestler, though.
Yeah.
She really is.
I think she's one of the top female wrestlers.
Yeah.
and one of the top wrestlers in New England in general.
Yep.
So, I mean, I've only been in the ring with her twice. I'd love to do it again because, there's some things you learn, especially she's always been very upfront,
Yeah.
straightforward. She doesn't hold anything back in a sense, but you need that. You
Right.
can't have people telling you all the time in wrestling, "Oh, you're doing great, because that's how
Right.
you plateau and that's how you get
Yeah.
comfortable.
Yeah.
And that's happened to me a couple times.
Has it? Yeah.
Yeah, and like her guys like Ryan Drew,
Yeah.
they're the ones that are like
They let you know
they'll
that
be
you don't know nothing,
straightforward.
kid,
Yeah,
right?
they'll be straightforward with you and they'll tell you.
Yeah.
And it's like me, I'm a person that really appreciates that because you need it.
Right.
You as I don't like getting comfortable.
Yep.
And I do. And people like that definitely
Right.
I very much appreciate it. Even though sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't really like this advice right now. It helps out in the long run for sure.
All right. And her tag team she's doing great things with JT Dunn down at Chaotic. Well,
Yeah.
obviously, with the code, but that is a great tag team.
Yeah.
Her and JT. All right. How about I know you wrestled them. I don't know how many times you wrestled them, but the Absolute Savage,
Oh,
Jimmy
Thrill.
Preston.
I love Thrill Ride.
Have you ever wrestled him?
Oh yeah,
I was
so many
gonna say, I
times.
thought
Yeah,
you did.
yeah. I wrestle. I love Thrill Ride.
Yeah.
He's such a really nice guy in general. Two of my friends, they're huge wrestling fans in general, and they love Thrill Ride to death. They're like, "Oh, when are you gonna wrestle Thrilly Dilly again?"
Right.
And I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like he's just a very oh man, I wish he could be as good on the mic as he is.
He is so good. Yeah, don't sell yourself short. You're pretty good on the mic.
Yeah, but
You are.
I always like I said, I try not to. I get cocky sometimes,
Right.
but like I try to stay as humble as possible because there's always room for improvement
Right.
in that sense.
But yeah, no, the three. Jimmy Preston is incredible on that microphone.
Yeah, no, the things he comes up with, I'm like,
And a
what?
great athlete, too.
Yeah,
Now,
absolutely.
I can ask, is he good at baseball for real?
I don't know.
Did
I
you
don't
ever
know.
see, like,
I don't
I
know
see
what.
him all the time, like,
I don't like baseball, so I can't really
Right.
tell you what's good and what's bad. in
Yeah,
that
yeah.
aspect.
I just always thought, he definitely looks like he'd be an all-around athlete anyways. How about Brad Hollister? Big Bacon.
Yeah, I was his first match back from injury.
Were you really?
Yeah.
Nice.
It was a very, very quick match.
Yeah.
I was very surprised by it, but
Was that Northeast?
yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's one of those guys that at first I was like, oh dang, this guy's not gonna like me. He's just like but he's always like he was super he's super kind to me, super nice,
Nice.
very down to earth.
Yep.
I love his new Untrained. I don't know. Have you seen
No.
so he has this new thing. It's like a spin-off and like a side project with his podcast
Yeah.
that he does with John Roy.
Right.
It's called Untrained.
Untrained. I have to check
Yeah,
that out.
it's like essentially them commentating on backyard wrestling, essentially.
All right.
And I'm an avid watcher of that. It's like my favorite thing in wrestling right now, to say the least.
There was a thing I used to watch on YouTube. It was two guys. Do you remember Weird Science 3000, that stupid show where they would like talk about a movie? They had a little robot with them.
No, I don't.
Well, there's the wrestling flea market. Two guys.
World
do that.
Wrestling Flea Market. I've been on there.
I love that.
I've been on there.
You've been on that?
My third match was on there.
No, I gotta look it up.
Yes.
I
I don't know where it is, but like they kept making jokes about Chris Hansen, Dateline
did they?
NBC. Oh my God, it was not a good match at all.
Dude,
Like the
I
guy
laughed
was.
so hard
Oh
at those
my God,
guys.
those
man.
were so like it was. It's funny because I remember I was watching it. I was like, I'm just dying laughing,
Yeah.
and they're making fun of me.
Right.
Like it's just those guys.
So,
are fun.
but that's kind of what Big Bacon's doing then, kind of in a way, right? On
Yeah,
that,
but, like,
Untrained?
Untrained, it's more backyard type of
Well, a
stuff.
lot. You know that there was a lot going on being said about untrained wrestlers in New England. a
Yeah,
while
I'm not
ago,
a
you know?
huge
Right.
I'm not a huge fan of
Yeah,
that
no,
kind of
neither am I.
stuff.
And I've had untrained wrestlers on here, and
Yeah.
it's nice to hear them tell me that they do go to shows now and ask
Mm.
people maybe before the match,
Yeah.
before the show, can you help me with this or that?
Mhm.
Because I don't want to see anybody get hurt. It's wrestling's dangerous enough
Exactly.
for trained guys.
So like when you sit in like your backyard and like put yourself at risk and like do all this dumb stuff, it's like, what are you doing?
Right.
Like there's that video of the dude getting hit by a car.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't get me wrong. I love watching backyard wrestling for all the wrong reasons.
Yep.
But like when someone's like, I remember this one time in Maine, this guy was like, I'll beat you up. I'm like, oh really? He's like, yeah, I'm a backyard wrestler. I'm like, oh, okay.
Right.
yeah, okay.
You're going to kill me.
You're going to get me. And he's like shorter than me.
Right.
I'm not a tall dude at all. Funny. Like I'm wearing the boots right now to have some height.
It gives you an extra half inch. That's funny. All right. We got a little over 7 minutes. We'll do a few more names. I know you wrestled this guy, Mike Gamble.
Love Gamble.
Yeah.
He's, I've known.
Is he American Sumo?
He's American Sumo.
American Sumo, yeah.
He, such a nice guy.
Is he?
And it's like, I'm so proud of him for his weight loss journey. Like, I remember when I met him, he was a very, very big guy. And this is like right around the time he started wrestling. Okay. And I believe I was his first match when it came to like training, like first training match and everything like that. I believe that. I don't know. You can't fact check me on that. Right. But I'm just really proud of him. Nice. Like it's insane like how much he's come along and he's stuck with his weight loss journey. Yeah. Like he like I said, nothing but good things to say about him.
That's fantastic. How about we did talk a little bit about him here and there, but Randy Carver Jr., a guy that right now deserves to be talked about for giving all you guys a chance to work.
Yeah, I'm just happy that like I'm very appreciative of him.
Right.
You know, I've known him for a little bit. I was one of the first people that he asked to be on Let's Wrestle when that first came around. Yep. And now to being given the opportunity, like it feels like, you know, he recognizes the hard work I've put in for not only him but around New England in general. Right. You know, he's very appreciative of just what we do. Yep. And he's given us a platform to at least keep wrestling because like I was going stir crazy in quarantine in general, not being able to wrestle and to like just do like that weekend alone and just like have some fun and like get to wrestle again. Remember I was nervous. I was like, oh geez, I haven't wrestled a little bit. But like just to have that opportunity, just like it, nothing but thankful in that sense.
Excellent. How about your tag team partner, Shannon Thomas?
Of course. I can't say anything bad about him or else he'll text me after this and be like, what the heck? But, you know, he's just one of those guys that just is not comfortable with where he's at. He always wants to get better and better and better. He is the guy that like, you know, I study wrestling as much, but he is like a wrestling junkie. Right. Like he is very avid at getting better no matter what. He's at training a lot more than me, and I'll admit that. But he is dead set on being like the best wrestler in New England. Right. And so he always is making sure he can do what he can to make sure he gets better.
Excellent. How about Osiris?
Osiris. I've known him for such a long time now. Yeah, no, I remember I met him when I was at Showcase such a long time ago. And he's always been a nice guy. Always humble. Right. You know, he's never, ever come up to me and been like, mean, angry, unhappy. He's always been like, yeah, no, I'm cool with that. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah, he seems like a great guy.
You know, when I first started going to Quinnipiac, it was my freshman year, I had no rides to any of my bookings. Right. And, you know, I was still like very, you know, new to wrestling and everything like that. And he was always willing to give me a ride to any place that I was going to be able to wrestle. So I'm always appreciative of that kind of stuff too.
And you can't bring up Osiris without bringing up Doc Ozone.
Doc Ozone is just so much fun. You can't go like I mean I've had so much fun like driving up with him to wrestling shows and everything like that. He's always just been a very down to earth guy. He's always loving. Yeah, he is. I have never heard him say a bad thing about anybody in my life. And there's a lot more. We need a lot more people like Doc Ozone in wrestling. Like a lot of people that just you know always have nice things to say and mean it.
Yeah, I don't think you'll ever hear him say a bad word about anybody.
I mean, and he means it too. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, there's a lot of people that I see in wrestling that are just so full of BS. There's so much people that are like, oh, positivity, all this kind of stuff, and I'm like, you're so full of BS. Just don't start with me.
I got to ask you these guys because I've never heard of them, and that's no knock on you guys at all. The Classic Corp.
Oh, Classic Calvin Strange.
Is that who that?
Yes, he's another guy that likes to wrestle up at at Limitless.
Yes, and he
Let's Wrestle.
Okay,
Yeah, he's a
that's what it is.
former Let's Wrestle champion.
Yes.
I've known Calvin for a long time. You know, he trained at Lance Storm's Academy when it was around.
Nice.
Yep. You know, he's been very secluded right now because of the whole COVID thing and everything like that. And no knock on him for, taking this stuff seriously. I think a lot more people need to take it seriously.
Yeah.
But, I've had fun matches with him.
Right.
And I can't say a bad thing. He's always been a genuinely nice dude.
Excellent. How about, I got to ask you about this guy. I don't know his whole name, whatever, but Smith.
Oh, Smith?
Yeah.
Smith. There is Smith's an interesting
Very
guy.
interesting guy.
Very interesting guy, to say the least.
Yes.
I saw his showcase debut where he got sentoned by Reverend Redemption many times.
Right.
It was an experience. He is he's a good guy. He's always helping out. So
yeah, he is a good guy.
Yeah.
All right. I told you I was going to bring it up. The Boogeyman.
The Boogeyman.
How cool was that, though? Seriously.
It's the worms were not the best thing to eat.
Right. Yeah.
But he was like, it's crazy how he shows up to every single show with that face paint on.
He shows up with it on already?
He shows it up. Like, he is very committed to staying in
So
character.
I wonder if someone does it for him, seeing that it's on. You know what I mean?
Who knows? But I've seen him at other shows. Like, he's always got the face paint on. I'm pretty sure he goes on the plane with it sometimes. And like, just imagine just the dude just sitting there with like this. He has like a black trench coat on too. So he'll just imagine being on a plane.
Imagine being a little kid. You're like 2 years old and you see the Boogeyman on the plane.
Yeah, I remember like the first time I saw him was like 2007. I didn't know anything about wrestling, but I saw him in like a magazine that all my friends were showing in class. And I was just like, this guy, what is this?
Yeah.
And then he had like the little mini Boogeyman.
Yep.
So I was like, what is this? And come years later, I'm wrestling against him.
I thought that was one of the best gimmicks when they brought up. I really did. It was just so cool. And how he would do the nursery rhymes and stuff like that. It was very creative, man.
Yeah.
I like the Boogeyman. All right, so we got a little over a minute. We'll do a couple more names. A name I never really bring up on this, but I'm a fan of his. Brian Anthony.
Brian Anthony.
King Brian Anthony.
Is it still King? I don't know.
I don't know. Probably not now.
I don't know. He lost that match to Man Scout, and then next thing you know, it's like COVID happened.
Yeah,
so you're like, what? But Brian Anthony is like one of the staples of Northeast wrestling.
Yes, he is.
He is very underrated in my opinion.
He is.
Like, I know a lot of people that have nothing but good things to say about him. I haven't had a chance to wrestle him yet. Hopefully down the line I will get a chance.
Right. Yeah, no, he's very talented, man.
Yeah.
Very talented. And I got to get myself down to Northeast Wrestling. I think I went to one show and they were at the Lowell, at Lasha Park. I went to that. They had Alberto Del Rio, Rey Mysterio, Samoa Joe. I mean, I brought my grandson. It was fantastic. Can you plug your social media? We got about 25 seconds.
Yeah, Victorious_BRG. Pretty straightforward.
On everything. So that would be Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Facebook, just look up Brett Gosselin. It's pretty straightforward on that.
All right. Listen, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
We'll do this again another time.
Absolutely.
Guys, that's it. So, go Tom Brady.
Hey, go Canadians.
Yes. Happy birthday to my son, Mike Connors, yesterday, and Brucey Brown today. Peace.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.